Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Whether you're tuning in here on the radio dial in Mississippi, we welcome you all back to our program. Also, those tuning in through our online affiliates around the world and through our iHeartRadio family. We're glad to have all of you with us as well. I actually found out about Patrick Ladonis thanks to social media on the site Instagram. I reached out to him when I found out about his web series coming up called Scales. He's with us today to talk to us not only about his love of storytelling, but also what it's been like for him to reflect on his journey, the work he's been able to do, and also what he hopes you're able to take away from Scales as well. If you're just not hearing about the project, we'll tell you at the end of our segment how you can stay connected with Patrick and Scales. But Patrick, hello to you and welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, doing really good. You know, I think this conversation is one of the good things that come from social media, Patrick, because like I said, I found out about you thanks to Instagram, reached out to you. You agreed to come on the program. I want to talk about that experience for you, Patrick. I know you're gearing up for us being able to be introduced to the characters that are represented in Scales, but what has this journey been like for you to kind of look back on that you've been on?
You know, when I look back on everything, Cyrus, it's really a full circle moment for me, going all the way back to my years in undergrad when I did my first student film on campus, which actually was a horror film called When Evil Awakes on the campus of Tougaloo College.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's the big thing. I mentioned to you, well, you know, one of the things that I definitely wanted to mention for our audience, because I think it shows that this is really about a marathon and not a sprint. Patrick, you posted on January the 6th on Twitter this article, again, alluding to the project you were just discussing. The headline says, Tougaloo student makes movie, pursues dream of Korean film. And you wrote with that tweet, the blueprint began in 1998, and then you said, never stop dreaming. What is it that helped you to not stop dreaming? Because as you know, just like I know, Patrick, there are people who have ideas, and because things don't happen when they want them to happen or the way they want them to happen, they give up on it. What is it that kept you from giving up?
You know, I think it was the fact that it was a burning desire in me. You know, I always feel like when it's your passion, and if you wake up thinking about it, you go to bed thinking about it, it's something you definitely have to pursue. And for me, filmmaking, storytelling, all of it, it's been who I am as a person, you know, even before Tougaloo College. You know, I was, you know, it's mentioned in the article that I posted, I was in the movie A Time to Kill, which was in Canton, Mississippi, and I had an opportunity to work with the director Joel Schumacher, and he would invite me on set when I wasn't shooting, and I got to watch all of that, and I was like, oh my God, this feeds me. Even at the time, as a 16-year-old, I was just so excited about it. And being able to do that at Tougaloo, I was like, I want to do a film. I want to, you know, get a cast together. I want to show that passion is still in me. So after I did that, and we had a really big premiere, which at that time, Cyrus, there wasn't social media, but it drew out, you know, everyone on campus came to the event, and it was a red carpet event. We had a DJ, and I knew that moment, how I felt back in 98, was something that I didn't want to let go of. And so that passion stayed within me. Fast forward all these years later, I knew that one day it's going to happen. And, you know, it happened in 2017, and here we are now, 2018, and I'm living out that dream that I had years ago.
Yeah. You mentioned something, Patrick, I want to go back to, and that's support. I mean, you had that support 20 years ago. Of course, now with social media, you're able to rally people around the world. I mean, how does that feel to know that people you've never met, people who just discover you, like I discovered you online, that they want to support you, want to see what you have in store next?
It's very exciting, but it's also it's a little nerve-wracking as well, just because I'm getting this support from people in Canada. I'm getting support from people in California. I've even gotten support from people in Germany, just saying, we love your passion. We see the videos that you're putting out. We can't wait to see the show. And it comes from such a natural place. Like, I'm not putting on any airs. I'm just, this literally, I get so excited about it, because I think that the story itself is great, but then just I'm a person who truly believes in, everything happens when it's meant to happen. And it took a while, but like you said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I feel that right now I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And that's what I want other people to get out of it. If they're pursuing a dream, or whether it's developing a story, writing content, or whatever it is, don't stop dreaming. Don't kill out your passion. Just patience, but endurance at the same time will get you there.
Right. And, I think the other side of this is, Patrick, is that you are not alone. I mean, I noticed even when I was prepping for this segment and when I first reached out to you, the cast, so we'll just take the cast for a moment. You were able to, again, using, social media to be able to share, clips from the table reads, clips from the shoot. What has it been like for you to have people who believe in the vision? Because I think that's also another thing for creatives out there, finding people who actually want to be a part of what you're creating. I mean, how does that feel to have that kind of support?
Cyrus, it's I can't even really put the right word to describe it, because the cast has been, and some of the people that's part of this, I didn't meet them until the auditions. So they're so invested in the story, and to see them give up so many hours. I mean, we practice a lot because I'm a little OCD, and I wanted to, I want the scenes to be real, and I wanted us to do this web series as how they do it. The big productions do it. We spend time as a family. We've done some team builders. We've gone out bowling. We've established the relationships because some of the characters are family members. I want it to be authentic. I want us to know each other. So to see everyone give up, time is the most valuable thing you can ever give to someone, because it's something you can never get back. To see them give up all their time and the enthusiasm that they provide for this production, for the series, and their excitement, it really is an overwhelmingly amount of sincere gratitude and just humbleness that I feel for that and for them.
For sure. And we're going to talk more about how Scales came about. Patrick, I want to say for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Patrick Ladonis to our program today. Patrick is the creator of the web series Scales. We're going to be letting you all know how you can stay connected with Scales and Patrick as well. Now, as I said, I found out about this through Instagram, and it's so funny kind of the way that even happened. I was interviewing someone else about their project. I then just stumbled upon you, Patrick, and then, of course, connected with you. How did Scales initially come about for you?
Well, this is the thing, and it's sort of it's not a downer, but it is a downer in a way. I go to Barcelona, Spain, sort of every year. It's like an annual trip with my best friends. And last year in particular was a special year because at the time the terrorist attack happened while we were there in Barcelona. And so, yeah, as a result, the city, and it happened literally right where our hotel and everything was, so the city was kind of on a lockdown for about 24, 36 hours. And so I was just stuck in my room. We were all kind of like nervous about going out. We didn't know if something was going to happen again. And so for me, I've always found comfort in my writing. And so I had the help. I think I couldn't sleep. So for me, I was like, oh gosh, I can't sleep. So what can I do? I can write. So I pulled out my MacBook and I started just writing this story about these people. And at the time, I was just thinking, with all the stuff that's going on in the world, all we are trying to do is just make it. And that's kind of became the birthplace of Scales. These are characters that are simply trying to, one, balance themselves, and that's what we use a scale for, and then they're just trying to make it and exist in this world. And so out of that unfortunate incident that happened, that's kind of where Scales first developed in my hotel room in Spain. I started crafting out the characters and the story, which initially was just going to be, it started out just being It was 3 episodes actually, and it grew from there.
Gotcha. Well, Patrick, again, going back 20 years ago, a lot has changed for our world. A lot has changed with technology. As you mentioned, we didn't have social media then, but also we didn't have new media the way that we're able to have it today. Do you think you've really benefited from that? And this is another thing that I really want our audience to get, is that, a lot of times we're waiting on other people to create a platform for us instead of using what's available. Did you automatically know when you were writing Scales, Patrick, that you wanted to take advantage of the platform that was available to you at that time?
You know what? I did not. I did not. And when I wrote Scales, when I wrote it, it was just kind of, it's comfort for me. I've done it here, and I'm almost just going to put it down. I've written it. Here we go. The story's there. But then it's sort of after the 36-hour lockdown was over, my best friend and I was talking, and I told him about the story, and he's like, "You need to do something with this." And I was like, "Oh, but I don't." He's like, "You only live once," and after what just happened here in Spain, and I was like, "You're right. You only get one shot on this planet," and just writing it took me into such a place of comfort where I was so nervous. I was like, when we get back to the States, I'm moving full-fledged ahead with telling this story, and I'm going to use the new platforms of social media and the internet to get it out, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Did you know that you were going to be a part of the story, though, Patrick, when you first started?
I did not. Now, this is where it gets a little funny. I of course, with the assistance of my friends, having them to help me be a part of casting, we went through several people actors, and it was something about, I'd given each character very specific baggage and definition or history per se. Mm-hmm. And as we were talking in the casting room, they were like, "No, we don't see the person no one had all of the elements of what we wanted the character to have." And so one of the directors assigned said, "Well, Patrick, why don't you read for Remy?" And I said, well, I was kind of just, the writer, creator type of thing. And so I read for it, and there's like, "You're Remy." They're like, this is why we can't find the right Remy, because Remy's right here. And I became Remy.
Wow. Yeah. I have to ask you, how difficult was that for you to slip into that skin that you had written?
It took a minute, and I can actually say I'm 85% there. But working with the 2 directors assigned to the first season, they've been really working with me just because what I definitely wanted to do, as far as an actor, as well as when you're actor, creator, and the executive producer, there's so many different hats that you wear, and so I wanted to make sure that I really bring the true elements of this character to where you don't see Patrick, you totally see Remy. And so they've been really working with me almost 4 to 5 days a week, just getting me in that sort of dark space for the character of Remy, because I think when people see the web series, I definitely want people looking at it. It's like, oh my gosh, that's not the Patrick I went to, college with. He's told. I want to be able to really bring that different complexity to the role, and for people to see something totally different. And that's what I'm 85% at right now.
Gotcha. So let's talk about that aspect of it, Patrick. It's one thing to create something; it's a totally different thing to have people believe in it, and then, of course, invest themselves and their time into it. And then when you actually get to releasing it, how does that feel to know that's coming, that's the next step, that people will be able to experience what you have put together? It's gut-wrenching, and because, one, I'm very passionate about the story. The cast are excited, and the people on the production side are excited. But then again, it's that fear, the same fear, because, again, you're now putting yourself in a platform to be judged and for people to give you feedback, which I'm actually excited for, because I feel like I can only grow and learn from it. But it's definitely... I'm excited, but then I'm very, very antsy a little bit, and I'm nervous, but I'm really thinking that people will allow themselves to really go on the journey with these characters and lose themselves in the plot of everything, because I think every single character
people will be able to relate and see some form of themselves or part of their past life where they've been in the situation that these characters will be portraying in the web series.
Gotcha. What has surprised you the most about Scales? I was talking recently to an author, Patrick, and we were talking about the twists and turns, how you can have an idea for a character, and then the character kind of says, no, that's not really the way I am. That's not the way it happens. This is the way it goes. You follow me. What has kind of surprised you the most about how the characters have kind of evolved?
I'm going to have to say one of the characters that surprised me the most was there's a character that we introduced called, his name is Kevin Keller. And Kevin is actually, when I initially wrote him, I wrote him a totally different person in terms of his behavior, his mannerisms, and just essentially how he was going to play into the story. He initially was only going to be seen in episode 5. But when we had the auditions for Kevin Keller, there was an actor, his name is Sky Passmore, came into the audition, blew us away, and it's like I immediately said, there's more to Kevin Keller with this actor. There's more to him. And so I looked at the story again, and I went back, and slowly but surely, Kevin Keller went from just being in episode 5 to now being in episode 1, being in episode 3 and episode 5 and episode 6, because this actor sort of transformed the idea of where I saw the character, and I ended up really going back to the character tree that I developed for each character and restructured his whole makeup to make sure that it would play a vital role into the story of Scales for season 1. And that's been my biggest surprise, because I never thought it.
Yeah. Well, definitely looking forward to seeing. No, that's cool. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that kind of comes together. So let our audience know, Patrick. I mean, we've been talking about Scales. When will it be able to premiere for our audience to be able to see, and how can they be able to stay connected with you to kind of be able to see it all unfold?
Absolutely. It's gonna debut this spring, and actually we start production. I can announce this. I'm so excited. We started production in 8 days, and that's next Saturday at 6 a.m. we start shooting, and we are going to debut later this spring. I'm looking at a late April to early May debut on YouTube, and as well as Vimeo and Amazon. And you can follow our journey, on YouTube. We have an entire, probably about 19 videos of the whole journey from the moment we had our first casting call up until where we are present day. And I can definitely be found on social media, on Instagram at I am Patrick Ladonis, as well as the web series is Scales_the web series _ on Instagram as well, and Scales the web series on Twitter.
Gotcha. So make sure you guys are definitely staying connected with Patrick and Scales, and we'll be tagging them as well, Patrick, with the link to this conversation. Patrick, thank you so much for accepting the invitation. Really appreciate you stopping by. Last question I have for you, and it's one I try to ask of creatives for our audience out there, because as you know, a lot of people are, going back and forth about, I want to do this, but I don't know if I can do it. What advice do you normally give to creators, not only about the idea of having a goal, but also doing the work necessary for that goal to be realized?
I would honestly say, Cyrus, the one thing that I always have said, and I even said this in my class speech when I graduated from college, Robert Frost, the poem called The Road Not Taken, it ends with, he says, I chose the path less traveled by, and it's made all the difference. Choose your own path. Don't let anyone dictate what you should or shouldn't be doing. I hear people say all the time, well, I'm too old to do this, or you're never too old to do anything that you put your mind to and that your heart is invested to. Mine's a full circle moment. I'm here now doing it, and I'm just as excited now as I was when I first made my student film 20 years ago on campus. So I say, don't stop dreaming and pursue those dreams and choose your own path and just be a trailblazer.
There you go. Well, thank you for being that trailblazer, Patrick. Again, everyone, Patrick Ladonis has been our guest. Patrick, thank you so much for the time, and looking forward to our next conversation together.
Same here. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, glad to do it, man. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. You all make it a great one.